Hi, my name is Allison Phillips-Zabelin, and I am the social worker here at the Early Childhood Center. I have been with the program for 10 years. I am also a mom of two, so we're going to talk today about tantrums. One thing I think is important to remember when we're talking about tantrums is that tantrums are really a sign of healthy brain development in toddlers. So, as frustrating as they are as parents or educators, it's good to just keep in mind that this is a sign of healthy brain development. Tantrums are normal. The upper areas of your child's brain are still developing at this age. These areas are responsible for naming feelings and emotions, for impulse control, and for thinking, reasoning, and logic. Um, those areas of the brain are going to continue to develop throughout their childhood and actually into their 20s. So all of this is very normal to have tantrums at the preschool age, and those should start to diminish more and more as kids get older. So when we're going to talk about tantrums, we're kind of going to talk about how to prevent the tantrum, what to do during the tantrum, and then what to do after the tantrum. So the first thing that we want to talk about is how to prevent. And the first thing I always say is think about those basic needs. Are those basic needs being met? So things like, is your child hungry? Are they tired? Are they sick? We know that not meeting those basic needs can definitely increase the chances for a tantrum to happen. Another thing we want to think about is just preparing kids. So stressful situations like a doctor's appointment, starting, school, family celebrations or parties, those can definitely be settings where tantrums are more likely to occur. So we really want to talk to our kids in advance about what to expect in these situations. Um, Also, role playing with dolls or stuffed animals, pretending that your stuffed animal has to go to the doctor, pretending that a doll is starting school. Those things can be helpful to practice those different situations during play. Um, you also just want to think about what are your child's triggers. So, when do tantrums typically happen? If there's a certain time of day that's always a trigger for your child, you really want to work on making that part of the day very consistent and routine. Um, One thing you can do is build choices into that routine. So things like, do you want to wear the red pajamas or the purple pajamas? We don't really care which pajamas they choose, but just giving them those choices can kind of give them some control over the situation and possibly prevent a tantrum. If you know that your child always throws a tantrum when transitioning away from a preferred activity, um, it's important to give warnings. So, one more minute, then all done with iPad. Just taking things away from kids without warning can definitely be a trigger for a tantrum. Setting a timer, letting them push the button, that can be helpful. Also, waving goodbye. So, goodbye, park. Bye, park. See you tomorrow, park. Those kinds of things can be helpful to prevent a tantrum. Another thing is using those first then strategies. We use this all day long at school. The first should be something that you want them to do, and the then would be something that they like to do. So just using that language so that they know, hey, you do this for me, and then we'll get to do something that you want to do. First, wash hands, then snack. That can be helpful to prevent some of these tantrums. Another thing is just distraction. So, sing a song, be silly, make a rhyme, um, throw in a different activity or item that's really exciting for them. Doing something fun, those can be ways to kind of distract from them being upset about something. Another thing, if you are seeing a lot of tantrums or during a big transition, maybe there's a new sibling in the family, maybe they're starting school for the first time or going to a new babysitter. During times of transition, or if you're just seeing a lot of tantrums, one thing you can do is carve out 10 minutes of special focused time every single day for your child. Um, this should be a time when there are no cell phones and there are no siblings. So give it a special name, and have that special time with your child. This should not be a time when you're giving them a lot of feedback or asking them a lot of questions or directing the play. You really just want this to be really focused on them, follow their lead, and do what they want to do during that time. That can really help kind of fill that tank for them to give them a lot of that attention and affirmation. Okay, now we will talk about what to do during a tantrum. So, when a tantrum is first starting, your child's not okay. You've set a boundary, they're not okay with it. We're going to say that's okay. They have a right to be upset. We as adults are going to set the boundaries, and it's okay if they're, mad about it. First, we want to acknowledge their wants and feelings. So, I know you're so sad to leave the playground. You want to stay. It's okay to feel sad or mad. All right. So, really labeling those feelings for them, and letting them know that you hear them, you understand, and that it's okay if they're upset about it. The next thing you're going to do is just set a boundary. So, we're going home now. We'll come to the playground again tomorrow. And then the next thing you want to do is really shift to the yes. So think of something that is exciting or something they like to do, and shift to that. So when we get home, we're going to have snack. Would you rather have crackers or grapes for a snack? You pick. Okay, so shifting and then also building in that choice can really be helpful too. What do you want to do when we get home? Should we play trucks or should we play with Play-Doh? So really shifting to that yes, shifting the conversation to something that that they would like to do. Okay. Next, sometimes that isn't going to work. Okay. Sometimes we're going to try that and a tantrum is going to happen anyway. And that's okay. Despite our best efforts, this does happen. They are allowed to be upset. We're going to be okay with that. They are not allowed to hurt themselves or to hurt anyone else. So the most important thing to remember, it can be really tempting to give in to a tantrum. There's a million reasons why. You're in public. Okay. It can be really hard to let a tantrum happen when you're at the library or at the park and there's other parents watching you. You're exhausted. We all get tired, right? At the end of the day, bedtime is the last thing and we're just exasperated. We've had enough. It's very tempting to give in. Or you have other kids to care for. The most important thing to remember is that we really don't want to give in to those tantrums. Once we've set that boundary, it's important to consistently hold the boundary. As soon as you give in, you've really set yourself up for an even louder, longer tantrum next time, because your child has really seen that that's worked for them. So once you have reached the point where the tantrum is happening, it's important to kind of remind yourself that I am not going to try to stop the tantrum right now. It can be really tempting as adults to just want to make it stop because it's embarrassing, it's uncomfortable, it's frustrating. But once the tantrum has really kind of gotten to that level, we don't want to try to stop it anymore. We're off the prevention strategies and we're on to just remaining calm and keeping everyone safe. Things like keeping everyone safe would mean, removing things from the area that could be thrown. If your child, likes to throw things when they're having a tantrum, you can say, it's okay to be mad, but it's not okay to throw cars. I'm going to put the cars over here to keep us all safe. Removing siblings from the area, would be another thing. Holding or hugging your child if they will allow that. Some kids really like that when they're upset, and some kids don't. And giving your child space, but remaining in the area, not walking away completely, remaining in the area so they know that you're there if they need them. The other thing is just remaining calm. This is really, really hard to do sometimes during a tantrum. But calm is contagious. So when we remain calm, our children will mirror that, and you'll see them, start to calm down. You could mirror his wants or feelings if, you find that works. You could say things, I know you're so mad right now. Things like that can be helpful. This is really hard for most people to remain calm during a tantrum, but eventually it will end. We know that it will end eventually. Okay, after a tantrum is over and everyone has calmed down, this is the time you want to teach and reflect. So it's important to remember that during that tantrum, when everyone is, your child is very escalated, they cannot hear you. So really our only goals during them are to keep everyone safe and to remain calm. You want to really do that teaching and reflecting during a calm moment for them. One thing you can do is work on building that feeling vocabulary. So model this in yourself, oh, I can't open this jar. I'm so frustrated. Really working on, showing that adults have emotions too. And, there's words that go along with those emotions. Labeling your child's feelings throughout the day. Oh, you're so excited to do the bubbles today. Or, ooh, I can tell you're really mad about that. That can be very helpful. Reading books, talking about the feelings of the characters in the books, pointing out their faces and having your child kind of guess how that character is feeling. Um, if your child watches TV, there are some great shows. Daniel Tiger is one of my favorite, but they embed a lot of social emotional concepts into those shows. So that can be a good thing too. And then when your child is calm, also talking about what can we do when we're upset? Is there a space in your home that they can go and kind of retreat for some alone time? Can they draw? Can they listen to music? Can they ask for a hug or a squeeze? Teaching your child to take those slow, deep breaths. We're going to be working on that here at the Early Childhood Center too. Those are all great things to kind of teach those coping strategies for your child. And then I just wanted to add this too. Sometimes as adults, we don't get it right. Okay. We snap, we yell, we lose our cool. It's okay. You are human and no one is perfect. And so I just wanted to say that, we all are learning and we're going to try to do better next time. But it's okay. We can repair. So when this happens, I would model apologizing to your child, express how you were feeling, tell them you'll try to do better next time. Things like, I want to say I'm sorry. Earlier, I got really angry and I yelled. I'm sorry if I scared you or I made you feel sad. I love you so much, and I'm going to try not to yell next time. Okay. I think it's important as adults to own up when we mess up and to kind of model that for our kids. And then finally, just give yourself permission to release the guilt and move on. Okay. Kids are very resilient, they're forgiving, and we can't beat ourselves up about sometimes not getting it right. Lastly, I just wanted to share my contact information for you. Again, I'm Allison Phillips-Zabelin. Here's my email and my phone number. I also have a handout that I'm going to attach to the communication about this presentation. It just summarizes everything that I talked about today. It's a good resource to give to grandparents or caregivers or partners or whoever it is that you think would benefit from this information. Thank you so much.